Alright, this is a system that was given to me by a close friend of mine, and this system is one that actually helped him build back in 2010, around that time frame. This was back when we were in college, but just by looking through the fangirl here, I can see the graphics card is somewhat more modern, so it looks like there has been some upgrades since it was originally built. But yeah, my friend essentially got a completely new computer, so he didn't need this one anymore. And me being the computer guy within our friend group, he reached out asking if I was interested in taking this and doing whatever I wanted with it. And I was like, heck yeah, because I love doing stuff like that. I told him he could probably get some money for it if he listed it on the local ads. It might take a while to sell, and he might not get much for it, but he could get some money for it. He told me he didn't really want to go through the effort, and whatever amount of money that was, he didn't really care about. So that's why he gave it to me. So yeah, in this video, we are gonna check this out and see what we can do with it. So let's first take a look inside this build and see what we have. I think this case is the Montech 300. Here's the panel coming off. This is what we have going on in the inside of the system. I do not recognize what cooler this is from Cooler Master. We do have some G-Skill rip jaws. I'm guessing that's 8 gigabytes. It looks like he took the storage out of this system and put it into his new one because I don't see any drives in here. The motherboard is a Gigabyte GA78 LMT USB 3, which I believe is an AM3 motherboard, so I'm guessing this is gonna be a Phenom 2X4 build of some sort. I don't know what the processor is underneath that cooler. The power supply is a Raid Max. I have no idea what the model or wattage is. I can't see it from either the front or the back panel being taken off, so we're gonna have to wait till after I blow out the dust and then pull it out to see what the exact unit is. And for the graphics card, we have the lime green edition. Let me see if I can see the label back here. This is a limited edition card. It's the GTX 960 Gaming. I'm actually not sure how much VRAM this card has because it does not say so on the little sticker there. This is by no means a new system. This would be, I think, a system that someone with a lower budget would buy into for their first system ever. Maybe if you had like $150 or $200 and you could scrap together these parts. So I'm actually very excited to get this up and running and to test some titles with it. So what I'm going to do is first find a storage drive for this system. So I'm going to be putting this PNY CS900 SSD into this. With the modern titles, it's going to fill up really fast. So having like 500 plus gigabytes for a entry-level system like this would be my preference. So we're gonna get this plugged in right here. We're good to go with that. What did he do to his USB ports in the front here? What? I'm not even sure if I should plug this into that. Let me show you what's going on in the front here. Like some of those pins are actually bent or pried out, and then just the overall housing looks kind of damaged. I'm not sure what went on here, but yeah, I'm going to be plugging in the thumb drive in the back. Alright, we're in. So let's see what we have. Oh, what? This is an FX 6300? Whoa, 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 whoa. Was I completely wrong this whole time about AM3 and AM3 Plus being compatible? AM3 Plus is a modification of the AM3 socket. It has one additional pin for new Bulldozer based AM3 Plus processors, and it's backwards compatible with AM3 processors. So I thought that additional pin broke the compatibility, but apparently it is both forwards and backwards compatible. I did not know that up until now. Like, I've done builds with the 6300 in it before, as well as builds with the X4 like 965, 975 processors. But all those times, I believe I had an AM3 Plus motherboard, so this is a pleasant surprise, and it explains why he's able to still game on modern titles. This is what we're looking at right now. We're in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Temperature in the room right now is 30.2 degrees C. We'll just say it's 30 because we're not that accurate here. This isn't a super scientific experiment. We pretty much normalized on the temperatures here. I've been watching it for like 5 to 10 minutes. And the GPU has not gone any higher than 61 degrees C. It goes higher for a little bit, but then it pops right back down. So I would say 61 degrees C For the graphics card, which is running at pretty much full load, it's maxing out at 99% here. And then the CPU has not really gone higher than 41 degrees C in this entire time. So we'll say 61, 41, and then 30. So yeah, we'll see after blowing this out and then repasting the CPU and the graphics card. I haven't decided on this case yet. We'll see after I pull everything out and clean it up. We'll see how I feel, but yeah, let's take this down to the garage and blow it out real quick. Alright, so doing that made a pretty big difference already. So we can see that all the caked on dust that was between these fins of the CPU cooler, it's pretty much all gone now. It's pretty clean, and then this rear fan was pretty dirty, but most of it got off. There's still some in the back that would need to be wiped down, but for the most part the fan blades are a lot cleaner now. The graphics card was in pretty good condition, but there was a layer of dust up here that is now gone now. A fair amount of dust came out of the power supply as well. So yeah, now I'm just going to take this upstairs and disassemble it, and then just get to a more deep cleaning of each of the individual components. There's like zero cable management going on, but we have the Raid Max RX 530 SS. Here's what the label looks like. This unit has been used for, I think, coming up on 10 years now. For the bad reputation that Raid Max usually has, this surprisingly has been holding it together for my friend up till now. But I think I'm going to replace it regardless. I'm not going to put it back in the system. I'm going to put a unit that I have more confidence in, especially considering the age of this. This could go at any moment. So I'm going to put this off to the side here. I'm not even going to bother cleaning it because it's not worth using. So we have the motherboard out of the system. I don't even know which cooler this is from Cooler Master. Ooh! So here's the paste on the cooler side. Looks pretty dried up. And here it is on the CPU side. I need to look up which cooler this is when you don't know the name of the model, but only the name of the maker. Just putting in Cooler Master, nothing like this is coming up because I think it's an older cooler. There it is! Gemini S524. I'm just gonna clean everything up with some rubbing alcohol, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so as you just saw, I cleaned all the components, so I have them sitting right here. I'm not going to be using that Raid Max power supply, but I do have this EVGA Bstock unit that I got for 20 bucks. And I've used these units in budget builds a ton in the past. Ooh, what? Wait, what unit is this? Okay, so this is a surprise because what I'm used to is their 600 watt 80 plus white efficient units. Those had ketchup and mustard cable, but take a look at this right here. It does have nice black cables. So this is new, and yeah, see, it's the 600 watt white efficiency 80 plus right there. So this is awesome. We have a much more reliable unit than that Raymax one, and it looks nicer. So I'm actually pretty excited about this, probably more so than I should be. So we have this power supply. Now, I did some thinking as I was cleaning up all the parts. I don't want to put it back into this case just because this is a really old case. The whole front just has these hard drive cages. They're not useful at all. We're not going to be using it. We have an SSD that we're going to put in there. We're going to replace this with a more modern case that has tempered glass and some RGB fans just to make it look a little bit nicer. And we have here the Montech X2 mesh. On Amazon right now, it's going for 65 bucks. We're getting 3 adjustable RGB fans, 2 of which are 140 millimeters. We get a tempered glass side panel as well as a mesh front. Assuming that there's no big issues with it when I put all the parts in, I think this has a ton of value given the price. So let's get this out and get all the parts in. Alright, so here's the complete build, and I have it loaded up with Assassin's Creed Valhalla so we can look at the temperatures. But overall, case was very easy to build in. The only caveat about this case is I misspoke earlier on in the video. This case is not addressable RGB. I don't know why I thought that. It looks like it's ARGB, so that's probably why. But also, other Montech cases that I've used were actually ARGB. This one though is not. It's actually fixed static lighting. It cannot change those color positions. They stay as is and you can't change it at all. So at $65 now, I'm not seeing as good of a value proposition in this case. I think it does go on sale pretty often though, closer to the $50 mark, where at that point, I think it would be more worth it again. But at like the $65 price point, I think you can get something like the Cooler Master MB311L, and that one has actual adjustable RGB fans, and that's a pretty nice budget case. Definitely go for that one if this one's not on sale. So now we're gonna take a look at this and see what repasting, dusting, and switching out the case did. So for reference, right now it's 29 degrees, a little bit over 29°C in the room. If we look at the graphics card, it's bouncing back and forth between 57 and 58. So that's a 3-degree delta from earlier, but because of the ambient, it's actually like a 2-degree difference if you look at temperature over ambient. So the GPU decreased about 2 degrees. And then the CPU is not going any higher than 30 degrees C. So that's a huge difference because we were at 41 degrees C earlier and now it's 30. And that makes sense because when I was touching the CPU paste, it was like very flaky and it wasn't gooey at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if that paste went bad. So that was just a comparison of the temperatures between the baseline versus the improvements I made to the system. I'm now going to show you a full suite of benchmarks to show how this system performs in both modern and older titles, you know, lighter games as well as heavy games like Assassin's Creed. And I'm going to be testing at 1080p just because I don't think the system is nearly powerful enough to test at 1440p, and I'm not going to do 720p because I usually reserve that for systems with integrated graphics. But yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy the benchmarks. Alright, there you have it. The FX 6300 at 9 years old and the GTX 960 at 6 years old are definitely starting to show their age, which is why in a lot of the titles the graphic settings had to be dialed back quite a bit. This isn't a system you should go out and try to build yourself unless you're super strapped for cash or if you can find like a really good deal on the parts. But don't go on eBay trying to look for these parts at standard pricing, because more often than not they're overpriced for what they are. For how much the processor and motherboard go for, particularly the motherboard actually, I think your money would be way better spent if you saved up a little bit extra and got yourself like a current gen entry-level i3 or Ryzen 3 combo where you know you'll get better overall performance, you'll get a platform that actually gives you room to upgrade in the future, and you also get the peace of mind that your parts aren't so old and so used to the point where they may crap out on you at any moment. Despite all of that, I do really enjoy making videos like this where I do get to play around with older parts and parts that, you know, kind of struggle a little bit with modern titles and see what they are and aren't capable of. It's a little bit more fun than just doing all new builds, which can pretty much run anything you throw at it. I also love seeing viewers chime in saying like, hey, I have that processor, or hey, that's basically the same as my system, because, you know, it's something that they can directly relate to. It may not be the best out there, but it might be the best that they can get, and it's being showcased and it makes them happy to see, so I love that. Yeah, if your system is similar to this, be sure to sound off in the comments, but also let me know what's the maximum price you would pay for this system, like realistically, as it is sitting here with the upgrades that I did make to it. I think if I really needed a PC and I couldn't find anything else, I'd pay a max of like $350 for it, and that's on the high end. And it's also considering the overpriced nature of graphics cards at the moment. Otherwise, I'd say like $300 would be my cap if graphics cards were readily available. But yeah, let me know what you think and how much you would pay for it max. But with that said, that's gonna wrap up for this video. I hope you enjoyed and found it either entertaining or useful in one way or another. I want to thank you all as always for watching and supporting the channel. It means so much to me, especially since the channel is going through a pretty rough time right now. Viewership is at like an all-time low, but thanks for continuing to show up as you have been doing. But yeah, I will see you down in the comments as well as in the next video. Bye.